Hello, people. You are in tune to episode 19 of the D&D Football Factory podcast. I am Double D. Usually, our weekly radio show is on a Sunday morning on Top FM 95.5 FM at 10 a.m. But with it being Christmas, we've got a special pod for you until we are back on air on New Year's Day. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, D-Man. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good as can be, considering my dead team and that. But yeah, I'm good as can be.
Good times are ahead. Keep positive, bro. Keep positive. We've got FBJ.
How we doing, lads?
FBJ
Long
is
time no
here.
see.
Well, a guy was getting elbowed out of these podcasts, and he had to elbow himself. That's right. You both know. I've spoken to you separately about this situation.
Wow.
I'm not happy, but I'm all right now. I'm on here, so it's good to speak to you.
That's the main thing. Welcome
That's
back.
it. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, welcome back. And we've got someone making, with the absence of Big Sammy and Goliath from this pod, we've got someone making their pod debut. Got a long time listener of the show, a very knowledgeable football guy. And we've got Josh J on the Twitter, big Tottenham fan. What's good, my bro?
Evening. Thank you for having me on the show, people.
Yeah, no, that's been a while. We're trying to get you on the radio show for a minute, so
I know, but
this will be up in the future. You get me? I know you've got a lot to say on Tottenham, and Conte will be coming to you later on. So yeah, people, please use the hashtag DD40pod on the Twitter. Remember, our Instagram is at DD40Factory_. That's the same on the Twitter as well. But in terms of pod related stuff, we've got the other account also, which is at DD40pod on the Twitter as well. So let's get into, obviously, as we're not in for the radio show, bits and pieces, elements of the show is going to be just like what we do on a Saturday morning. And we always start with the FPL intro. Yeah, so I'm going to go over to D-Man, who's back to winning ways this week in the head-to-head league. I see.
Hold on. Let me step in here before we do the usual FPL thing. Look, man, it's been a while since I've been on here. I got to throw my weight around here.
What's this guy?
Fam, you're in the woods. You're looking a bit. You get me?
I'm on location. That's my commitment to the show.
I hope you ain't kidnapped no one out there in the woods, man. Looking kind of creepy out here, man.
First of all, I'm loving the squad rotation. Rotation.
Festive period. All right,
All
right, Pep Guardiola. Yeah?
The games are coming thick and fast. Got to use the squad. So new faces, yeah.
Your manager.
Okay, I'm done. I've said my bit. Go on.
Okay.
These guys are serious.
FPL looking alright, slightly better this week. Back to winning ways, like you said, in the head-to-head league. Hasn't affected my position, unfortunately. I'm still ninth, but for those who don't know, I am the current champion of the FPL. Full stop.
Oh yeah. Wait. People, I don't know if people heard that. I don't know if they heard that.
But listen, they need to know I am the champ, the current champ, holding all the main titles of FPL, whether it be the D&D Footy League, the Head League, my other leagues, my work league, everything. I am the champion. Yeah. Premier League Predictions League, I'm the champion. Yeah. Yeah. I'm having a bit of not a worrying season, but subpar by my standards. But anyway, head-to-head league. I don't know who I played, but I won my head-to-head. Yeah, let me have a look. I played Gary Wilson. Is that Uncle Gary?
Yes. No. Not FBJ's brother-in-law. Producer Tommy Wilson. That's my boyfriend. Yeah.
He's a Spurs fan, no?
Yeah, never Tottenham fan. Yeah, he's been on the show. Before.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
20 points. Captain.
Holiday.
Yeah. And then Dubul Dee, you beat Clement, yeah?
Yeah, my cousin still. Another Tottenham fan. They're all over the gaff.
Oh, Tottenham fans holding L's. Okay. 53 to 42.
Josh, did you win your game? Josh is in the Justice League.
Oh.
Josh is in there.
Yeah. Hold on, let me check. I think so, you know.
Who did you? Hold on, you're not Jay Lacriardi, is it?
No. That's not.
No.
Oh, Josh
He's in
Smith.
there. Josh Smith. He's the proper
Yeah.
name.
He played Big Sam.
Oh no! You let Big Sam's running away with the Justice League, bro.
Brother, you had one job. You had one job. He beat you by 12 points. Yeah.
Bro.
And unfortunately, he's still top. Big Sam is still. It's a good job he's not on there because he'd be ballsy. Listen, he's top with 45 points. He's lost 3 games and he's won 15. Yeah?
Wow.
He's on a tear. He's
trying to do a me. Yeah.
Big Sam is on a tear. It's all the luck of you get drawn against because my 2 highest scores of the season, I've lost both times. Even when I got 103 or 105 or whatever, I lost to Dwayne, who got 109, bruv. So if I had Sam's opponents, I'd probably be 100%, bruv. Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't that the game that wasn't the game week where Salah got the hat trick against United?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who
And
else
I
he had.
failed to captain him, didn't I?
Yeah. You captain? Oh no! What?
No,
I'm probably only using up ahead of you, bruv. Oh, what was that when you captain Kai Havertz?
Yes.
Ah,
yes.
that's probably the only reason I'm ahead of you.
Well, you're sitting on 33 points. I'm sitting on 30. And Josh, you are sitting on.
bro, I'm low in the table.
Yeah, it's kind of mad still.
There's still time. There's a prize for the highest score, so there's always something to play for. You get me?
You're moving like the Lakers, bro. You've won 6 and lost 12, bro.
I was actually just watching Undisputed as well. Even Shannon cry about the.
You're on 18 points, bro. 18. Not looking. Hold on, Goliath. Okay, Goliath's bottom on 12. It's all right. Yes, you're not that.
Oh wow.
So let me wrap up on the D&D Footy League.
Yep.
So that one's quite interesting, actually. Are you in this one as well? Josh in this one?
No, I don't think so.
The footy. I'm not sure if he's in the footy factory. I'm sure he's in League of Gentlemen, but I'm not sure if he's in the footy factory.
You're not in this one. Okay, so let's just start. We'll forget Goliath. Like, I'm 5th on 1132. Dubs, you're in 2nd on 1148. And Big Sam is top by 1 point, 1149.
This is why I'm vexed, because I took a 4-point hit because the Villa game got called off. I only had 6 people, right? But now I didn't want to use my free hit. But now in midweek they've said that after everyone's crying on the FPL Twitter, they're giving you another free hit. So if I knew that, I would have used it. I would have gone for the Cancelo Diaz link up at the back. You get me? So it is what it is. It is what it is.
Is it the case of if you haven't used yours already, you have 2, or if you
have 2, you have 2, but they're gonna block you from using them in consecutive weeks.
Oh, that's fine. Because there's double game weeks.
But you get 2. That's the first time I've ever seen people's demands be answered like that by the FBO. If that's the case, they might as well change flipping. They should. Free hit is crap anyway. I prefer the all-out attack.
Oh, that was dead.
You did like, fam? Don't you have weeks when there's one of your midfielders or forwards that you want to play? I preferred that shit, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I don't know, man. But anyway, Big Sam's not winning that league anyway. We know that. He's not taking my crown, bro. There's no way. I mean, you can take it. He's not taking my crown.
We need to get FBJ back to FPL. We need to get FBJ back on Twitter, actually. Sorry, not even back on there. He's never been on there.
No. Don't let this guy fool you, you know? Do not let this guy fool you, because he sees tweets faster than I do, and I live on Twitter. So he's on there somewhere. He's got a burner account. Yeah.
He's got Insta burner, but I'm not gonna bait him up on here. Yeah, Kevin Durant out here.
First of all, clearly it's a case of it's what the fans want. So the FPL they bow to people power. Second of all I'm saying is that I retired. I got nothing to prove. But if our times overlapped, I think I would have given you a run for your money. I'm just saying. Saying.
Well, look, man don't want to come back to FPL, but they're being bossy. How does that work? Man said that chest.
But just tell him
He's
how
not
I
going
do
to
things,
prove it.
bro. Because
I'm just
December to
saying.
January, I start picking up pace, bro, and then it's a wrap. So please, allow it.
I'm just saying.
Cheering Ryan Giggs goals. But anyway, right. Let's get to
That's why I said no, I'm done. I can't.
the
I
low
can't
shots. The low shots ended man on the pod. Right. But yeah, no. Right. So let's get into it then. The action, because there was only 4 games. Because obviously after we finished doing Saturday's footy on Top Show, the Aston Villa and Burnley game was called off. So the first match wasn't until 5:30 on Saturday. Finished Leeds 1, Arsenal 4. Jabroni, you watching this before me because it was 2-0 before I started watching. What's going on with Leeds? Even before, obviously they've got a lot of injuries, right? They've got a lot of injuries, which obviously is the biggest reason. But outside of that, even before more of the injuries start kicking on earlier on the season, when Ipswich they had Bamford fit, who's their talisman, right? Something just didn't seem quite right.
I'm gonna use what I call my Bournemouth definition. So a couple of years ago, I saw Bournemouth play. I won't say who I saw them play because anyway, but I saw them play away from home.
I mean, they play Tottenham, yeah.
Swiftly moving on.
Been to Tottenham Stadium more times than Josh. Gonna rip your shirt off in a minute.
I wouldn't even lie. Do you know what? Some staff members said, "You've been here more times than when I went on a Sunday. You've been here more times than you've seen your own team." I said, "Look, I get it from a radio show I go to. I don't need to get it from you, brother. So let's keep it moving." No, but I saw Bournemouth play away. Yes, it was to Spurs. This was when they're at Wembley, and I think the score was like 5-0, something like that. And Bournemouth was so open. Obviously they want to play expansive football, but if you play football against another good footballing team, you're probably going to lose. You got to come with a different angle. And I feel Leeds are exactly the same. We know what they want, how they play. We know Bielsa wants to play an expansive brand of football, very much possession-based, built from the back, very much modern day. But you haven't got necessarily the playing casts against a lot of other teams. And especially if you start taking a few of your gems out, you got to come with a different angle. And I watched the game and I just thought Leeds have made it so easy. I'm not saying Arsenal weren't particularly good, but Leeds gave them a leg up. Did the same kind of mistakes, gave away the ball cheaply from the back, gave Arsenal opportunities where, I mean, within a few minutes, you just thought, yeah, the writing's on the wall with Leeds. They're just too easy to play against. And sometimes you just got to dig it out, you know? When we look at the top, most of the teams, they don't necessarily play an expansive brand of football. Sometimes there's a period where they just get the results. Everyone's done it. Even Pep's Man City, not necessarily played well, but they've dug out a result. So if at the top they're doing that, I can't see why Leeds can't do that. And whatever, whether it's Bielsa or whether the players are doing their own thing, either way, Leeds right now are too easy to play against, and they don't give themselves a chance to actually hang in the game and actually get a result. They got the injuries, give a different look to the opposition, but no, they refuse to do that, and they get torn apart, and they got torn apart against Arsenal, a decent Arsenal, but not a wow Arsenal,
Right, I hear you. You're 100% FBJ. Right, Josh. Was it a case of Leeds were really bad, or do we have to actually praise the fact, because you can only beat what's in front of you, of how well Arsenal did? Because I think Meslier made about 8 saves, so this could have been double. This could have been double figures, and that's not even an exaggeration. How good are Arsenal?
I would say they're moving in the right direction, but obviously with Arsenal and Arsenal fans, one week it's Arteta in, trust the process, and then next week Arteta out, don't trust him. So at the moment, you just ignore them and just see what happens. But in terms of the actual game itself, I think Leeds I think Leeds are going to get relegated because Bielsa only
Ooh.
has one style of football. His stubbornness not to adapt to the Premier League or adapt to the game in front of him is costing his team now. Obviously, the injuries are not helping. Obviously, COVID as well. That's out of his control. But in terms of like game to games, you're going in one style, and it's if that's not working, then oh well, we go again next week. But unfortunately, that's not working in your favour, and it's looking like for a lot of the squad that they are mostly championship quality. So with that being said, yeah, like I said, I just see him getting relegated, and yeah, well, even with the people coming back from injuries, I think for them it's too little, too late because I think most clubs have worked them out now. Like I said, they're expansive. If you've got decent wingers, you can get behind them, and it could be a free for all. Like I said, Arsenal not known for their attacking quality, especially under Arteta.
Mm.
But yeah, that's like I said, in that game they could have easily had double figures. So if that Arsenal squad can do that to them, when other teams face them, it's going to be the same. So yeah, I feel that Leeds have or enjoyed their stay, but yeah, under Bielsa, I don't see him staying up.
Now I know D before the season even started, you were saying that you reckon they're going to struggle this season. They did actually keep a decent amount of clean sheets last season, but when they conceded, they really conceded at the threes and the fours, and Man United obviously got 6 against them, for instance. Could the unthinkable happen and either Bielsa leaves or they axe him, or is that too extreme?
But to answer your question, I don't think either will happen. I don't know if there's a story about one of his old clubs when things weren't going his way and the fans got on his back, whatever, and they turned up at his yard protesting, and he come out with a shotgun and this.
Yeah.
But the Leeds fans, because I when I go to the Palace games, I actually sit next to a Leeds fan. He's a lifelong Leeds fan, and he says the fans will never turn on Bielsa because of what he's done for the club, basically. And yes, they're taking a hiding, but they know they haven't got a right to stay in the Premier League, but they like the football that he plays. Yeah. Don't get them, they'd love to pick up points and stuff, but the fact that he's got them playing attractive football, he's brought them from where they are to the Premier League, he's basically a martyr there. So, if anything, he would have to leave, which I personally thought he would have left a long time ago because he only stays for 2 years typically, and he's very hot headed, and so is the Leeds chairman and stuff, or the owner, whoever it is. But in terms of the game itself, like I said, I called it from last season that Leeds will struggle this season, and it's two reasons. A, because the style of football that they play is way too open. It's a breath of fresh air, but you can't sustain that with that quality of player long term. And similar to what I said about Klopp, where he pushes the players to 110% in terms of the work rate and the running, that's not sustainable over a long period of time. Now, Liverpool can do that for maybe 2 seasons. Leeds can only do that for one. And I think that's where the injuries are coming from. They're picking up or they're taking longer to recover because they're burnt out, basically. Obviously, like I said, COVID doesn't help. And I think they're down to the bare bones. That's why they've called off the game this week. But this was the perfect opportunity for Arsenal. Yeah, the way Arsenal play and the way Leeds play. Like Arsenal aren't the best defensively anyway, but they can against the lesser teams they can hurt you offensively. And if you leave gaps like that, like Leeds do, Arsenal will exploit them. And you have to give credit to Martinelli.
Yeah, that's what I was going to actually ask you. I was going
Yeah,
to say how good because this boy, I said it though, he wants to play out wide. The boy can finish, man.
yeah, he's a very very good finisher, and I think the sky's the limit for him. We know if he really wants to achieve big things, he can't stay at Arsenal long term. But for now, knuckle down the first team place and keep the goals coming in. And then you've got likes of Saka coming back to top form after that long lull after the Euros and stuff. Smith Rowe's coming off the bench still, and he's putting
Still
he's
bagging, still
still back.
bagging.
Odegaard now seems like he's settled. So these are the teams we expect Arsenal to beat. Um, and if they can consistently beat them and beat the odd decent team, they'll have a good season. Don't get me wrong, Arsenal fans as usual get gassed over this result because they slapped Leeds and Martinelli put in the performance and they started comparing him to this, that, and the third. But credit where it's due in it. Like they seem to have a settled style of play now, settled pretty much first 11. The back line looks a lot more solid. I know the right back, Tomiyasu, is that his name? He's gained a lot of applause when he was basically ridiculed for having kicked the football in this country. So they look solid without being spectacular. I can't say we could take this result as any sort of barometer of how good they are. But like I said, they can only play who they're up against, and Leeds will ship goals after goals after goals. Whether they get relegated, I think there's teams worse than them in the league, but they're going to go very close. And it wouldn't surprise me if they do get relegated, because Bielsa's stubborn. They're not going to change their way of play. They're going to lose a lot more games, but they're capable of, with the likes of Rafinha, when Bamford comes back to full fitness, I think they'll have enough to, and Phillips have enough to stay afloat. But it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty.
Do you think realistically they have to? But do you see them bringing bodies in January, FBJ, or do you think they'll just think things will be cool when they get more players fit?
No, I think they have to be active in January. I think what is shown, the demands of this season, again, very similar to last season, because we're in a COVID world. You need bodies. You need players that you can bank on in terms of who you can field. Right now, they're down to the bare bones. It would be negligent for them to go past the 31st of January with no additions to the squad. So I expect to see some bodies coming in. Who? That's another story. But definitely just to ease the strain on with the COVID thing and injuries and what have you. Just before we move on, let you guys speak again. With Arsenal, one thing that I think we've always criticised with them over the last couple of years is that, this was a game where we could easily see Arsenal lose in the past. Whereas before, all right, they're not stellar, they're not top, but they'll beat the teams they needed to beat. And then there was a spell where, actually, a Wolves, a Leeds, or whoever, you'd think, actually, Arsenal should win, but they wouldn't. Now they are actually doing that. So there is green shoots on there. Although, certainly myself, I didn't say that they were outstanding. You can see that they have improved, and actually they are beating. We are looking at them now saying, well, we expect Arsenal to beat these teams. Whereas a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, we weren't saying that, It's as soon as they'll go away, they'll lose, or there's a high chance they'll lose. So credit to them. But yeah, definitely, I'd be amazed if Leeds don't get reinforcements in.
Yeah, Arsenal, I did say before the season started that because they're playing one game a week now, that Arsenal could do some damage. And at the moment, they're doing it. We'll see. Obviously, they had that defeat against Everton, which they deserved really, because after going ahead, they tried to just kind of sit off. But we'll see. They need to get that goal difference up, but they're doing their thing. They're doing their thing at the end of the day. And people were querying. They were like, "What? Arsenal were fourth a couple of weeks ago," but now they've got another win to sustain that up over West Ham. We'll see whether they can stay there or not.
Better to have points on the board than games in hand. So
yeah. Yes, absolutely. And again, they did the same thing against United. They went 1-0 up, and they didn't drive forward and actually show some impetus to try and take the game away from United. And 1-0, that's a dangerous scoreline, and we all know how that ended. So yeah, I have to look at them as possible top four. Surprisingly to me, anyway.
Right. So let's go to Sunday then, and Wolves. And we're going to do this game first intentionally because there were two 2:15 kickoffs. We're going to start with the goalless draw. Usually we go in chronological order on the radio show, but we're going to start with the goalless draw because when I hand over to the next game, my co-host is going to have a lot to say, right? Wolves and Chelsea finished 0-0. Chelsea tried their damnedest to get this game called off. Though the starting 11 they had out wasn't that weak, though there was no out-and-out right striker. I think Pulisic ended up playing false nine or something like that. But you can see why with the performance, why they wanted it called off. Kante was back, but he wasn't at his. I wouldn't say he wasn't at his best, but you can still see he's trying to get back into a rhythm. It's been stop start this season with the injuries that he's had. But Wolves were the better team in this game, and they could have won it, and they were unlucky. They had a goal disallowed. You see why it was disallowed, because obviously the ball came in, Jimenez tried to hit it, missed it, and then it got knocked in. Do you think that would have stood in another game, or do you think they would have been consistent, Josh, and give that? Because we see different referees just doing different things, like they've been trained differently. Would that goal have been disallowed in any fixture, or do you think Wolves lost out on that goal because they're not a big club? Because we've seen certain calls.
Do you know
sometimes
what?
favour
I
the
think
big
this.
team.
I think this season. I think this season has proved that in terms of like VAR decisions, it is we're going game to game. You know, there really is no consistency. Yes, you know, some fans could argue that you know, big team bias does play, and I do slightly believe in that. But I do think Wolves were unlucky in that game. I think Chelsea in general. I think out of the big three that I think at the start of the season we all thought that were going to challenge for the title, I think they are going through the first blip. So I think for Chelsea fans and Chelsea, it's just like, how are we going to respond to this, and how do we, you know, get over this? But my main worry is Lukaku, because at the moment he's not playing. He's fit, and you know, and you know, he's not playing. So you spent all this money on him. You're not winning. You're not winning games. You're struggling to You're struggling to score. Your defensive players are your most active goal scorers. How does Tuchel address this issue and turn things around? But yeah, no, because of the game, yeah, like I said, I do think Wolves were unlucky not to win it.
I think Lukaku came back and then came on as a sub in a game, and then for this game against Wolves, I don't know if he was ill or COVID or something. There's a reason why he wasn't present for that game on Sunday, Lukaku. But yeah, that actually allows me. I'll go D and FBJ, because we've addressed this, but this is a different platform to address it on. When Lukaku does come back, he could only play one game, and one game back, and people will be on him. Though we started off the first few games like a house on fire. Why is he getting this criticism when there's another guy that plays for a London club that only scored his second goal on Sunday that we're going to go through in depth in a few minutes?
Because he's not England captain, is it? Because he's not England captain, yeah. And why, we know the other reasons to certain people, but we're not gonna go through that. But it's obvious. The man, like you said, he started the season on fire, got injured, yeah, and all of a sudden they're criticizing because he hasn't scored in how many months? Like, this is a joke.
When for someone that he's not even been fit.
Makes no sense. And remember, they were weighing themselves over Chelsea needed a striker, and now they've got Lukaku. He's the answer. Blah blah blah. But yeah, he goes 2 games without scoring, and all of a sudden he's been vilified. They're making memes about him. They're talking about his United compared to his United games. He looks overweight, this, that, and the third, and you know, his hold up play ain't good enough. He can't control the ball, blah blah. When the man batted up in Italy, yeah, under Conte, and he's proven himself as a proven goal scorer anyway. So I don't get it. He will come good, but
Do you think that's because of his history with United? Because obviously at United, I think that's when the all the jokes and banners start to start in terms of his first touch. And I think for a lot of Prem fans, they don't watch into foreign football. It's literally Prem and Prem only. So
yeah,
they've seen Lukaku, you know,
ignorance.
quote unquote fail at United. Yeah, we don't care about Italy because they don't rate Italy,
Yeah.
Serie A in general. He's come back and he's pretty much just continued where he's off in
But
that
that's the
sense. So I
thing.
can understand.
Yeah, and even that, you're right. It probably is that. But at the same time, if you look at how he started at Chelsea, and he scored in the Champions League as well, and that's where he got his injury. I think his first injury. So he has been performing, and also it's also about Chelsea playing to toward a style that fits him. Basically, I think Chelsea need to adapt to his strengths and utilize them, because you paid all this money for him. He will be a top scorer eventually, but you just got to let him. You got to play to his strengths and let him do what he does, kind of thing. And I think they're still finding a way to do that, and especially now that he's been injured and they've gone to a certain way.
Mm.
To attack. Now would be the time to adapt to suit him because you're struggling. If you were carrying on winning games the way you were playing, fair enough. But now you're not. It's time for a plan B or get back to your original plan A to suit Lukaku. And when he's fit, play him. But like I said, unless he's scoring 25 goals a season, it will never be enough for some people in this country. So when others can end the season with 12 and he'll still be like first pick on England and avoid any criticism and all of that. So yeah.
Do you know the irony is though with the whole Man United thing? He was the top scorer both seasons that he was there, and I'm sure we'll get the full story in the future sometime, whether it be a autobiography from another player or it be Lukaku's very own autobiography or documentary or whatever. But apparently he had some dietary issue or something like that, and there was incompetence within the United physicians, and they didn't know this thing. So obviously on Inter, they've taken care of thing, and we've all seen what he's been able to do there. And obviously he's come to Chelsea now. I'm sure any medical things have been passed on and whatnot. So obviously when he gets back firing, I think he'll bring that other dimension that they need because they've got fullbacks that can get the ball into him.
Yeah.
They've got central midfielders that can get the ball into him. Him and Kovacic would link in very well before obviously both of them got injured. And then I think that Chelsea will be much better because they're really struggling at the moment. And though obviously you'd expect that with like the front guys gone, though they did let Giroud go, right? The front people not there because they were getting so many goals from the defenders. And then they're getting penalties as well. And obviously, Jorginho's been putting them away. I'm not sure anyone foresaw them dropping this many points. Because weren't they 5 points clear at stage?
Yes, they were. My man was telling me that City would never catch them.
People were giving them the title back in October, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But FBJ, before we go back to D for Newcastle and City, Bruno Lage, obviously it's only midpoint or coming to the midway point of the season, but he has to get ratings because one thing with Wolves was that under Nuno, they looked at as being a stubborn, very good counter-attacking team and could produce moments of brilliance. But though they're much more, I'd say, they're more progressive under Bruno Lage, they've still kept it quite tight at the back. And Jose Sarr, I've had a lot to say about him because you will know FPJ, when he was Porto's keeper, we were packing them, right? But Jose Sarr has been very, very, very good this season, right? And reliable at the back. We have to give him the rate. So far, obviously he's not finished yet, but Wolves are doing well so far.
Yeah, no, he's done well because if I recall, I can't remember their record at the start, but it was a stuttering start. They weren't necessarily getting the points on the board.
They made a whole lot of chances in those games, though.
Yeah.
There were no chances in the league in the first 3 games.
Slowly but surely, they've come up to speed. I would see it as the best way to describe it is that they've built on what Nuno's done, but enhanced it, yet still maintained a level of a defensive base. You know, when they lose, it's always relatively tight. They still create a lot of chances, and it's a little bit more like what you said, progressive. So yeah, and also Nuno, he was much loved there. You know, that's a big shadow for someone to come and step in, and not just fulfill, take it on. And he has. Okay, yes, it helps that he's Portuguese, and pretty much the Wolves team is Portuguese. So there is that, and kudos to the Wolves board where they've looked for somebody who could seamlessly, as best as they can, fit into what's already been built and try and build up on it. And they found it, so far it's reaping dividends. But yeah, no, he's done well. The players have done well, responding to someone different. And then and obviously the fact that the strikers come back, which helps. I know obviously last year he wasn't available, but they're going about their business quietly. Our Wolves. Just before we move on, I just wanted to add my bit on in terms of Lukaku. I agree with D on this in the fact that he will come good, And if Chelsea are going to do anything this season, he's got a part to play. But I do feel up until recently, when he wasn't in the team, Chelsea looked more seamless particularly when Havertz is leading the line, and they were getting the results towards the end of last season, where he was leading the line. This year, particularly when Lukaku was in the team, they look good. That's not to say Lukaku hasn't got a place, but it just looked good. It's just a question of, I think it's a two-way thing. Him fitting into the Chelsea way, and also them also lending themselves to Lukaku's strengths. And at that moment, and obviously it's been a bit bitty, injuries, COVID, what have you, he hasn't really had a chance to build upon that. So it'll be interesting going forward, particularly now in this festive season, if games do get played, whether Chelsea actually use that opportunity to fit Lukaku in and use it, because they're going to have to. The games are coming thick and fast. Even if they don't get played, there's going to be a backlog of fixtures. So, yeah, that's my bit for that game anyway.
Right, so the other 2:30 2:15 rather kick off on, was it 2:00? Anyway, it was 2:00, wasn't it? Sorry. Newcastle and Manchester City finished Newcastle 0, Manchester City 4, and usually it's prime box office stuff on the radio show, but start this off because I'm sure everyone's got a lot to say about this. But is there a refereeing conspiracy going on against your football club?
Refereeing conspiracy, wow.
Because I saw a blatant penalty and it's not getting given, mate.
Hold on. It's the refs, it's the FA, it's the Premier League, it's every other team in this damn league. Yeah, all against Newcastle. I don't care. Nobody says. Don't get me wrong. We're never going to beat Man City, don't get me wrong. And when we looked at this run of games, Liverpool and Man City were two of the games that we knew for sure we weren't winning. However,
just your luck to have them back to back. Just your luck.
But you have to start with the first goal. Yeah.
Kieran Clark. Yeah. Defending like he was wearing Clarks.
If you wind it back, Lascelles plays the ball back to the Bravka. Yeah. And Lascelles, to his credit, moves out wide to receive the ball back. Yeah. The Bravka kicks it out of play. All they have to do is pass it 10 yards. He passes it off the pitch. Yeah. Now from then, I thought, you lot aren't serious. You're not serious. Yeah. Anyway, from that, City get a corner. Now Newcastle had ample opportunity to clear this ball. Then the ball goes out wide to Cancelo, who first time puts it across. Someone explained to me what went through when that lineup was announced. Yeah, again, similar to the Norwich game. Why is Kieran Clark there? Yeah, I don't care how many injuries we have. Anyone is better than this guy in the centre of defence. And if you're partnering with Lascelles, that's just a calamity waiting.
It's just trouble. It's just trouble.
No one can explain to me, because I looked at it and it happened in it was 2 seconds before, from Cancelo hitting the ball to the ball going in the net. But it looked like 10 seconds because it was so slow. And I looked at it and I thought, what is this brother doing? Clear the damn ball. Yeah? Regardless if the keeper's called it, it's in dangerous territory. Get rid of it first, ask questions later. Yeah? But what made it worse? You could see Dubravka saying, what are you doing? I did not call for it.
That's what I'm saying. So why would you leave it? He bombed.
11-year-olds, no, clear the ball. Yeah? You wouldn't even see that in the under-7s game. Yeah? It's embarrassing. But again, it's typical Newcastle. It's typical Kieran Clark. Yeah? So you're down to 1-0 to City, you're the best team in the league after how many minutes? There's no way you're going to get back into this game. Now, I don't know. When was the penny after the first or the second goal?
Second, after the second.
Okay, so the second goal now, as good a strike as it was, yeah. First of all, Willock, yeah. The man just breezed past you like you weren't there. Now, don't get me wrong. Willock is playing in a false position to me. He's not that. He's not a centre midfielder. Yeah. I don't care. Put a challenge in, yeah. Man ghosted past him. Then he sat Hayden on his backside. But it's not like he was so close to Hayden. He was at least 5 yards from Hayden, and Hayden ended up on the floor. Yeah? Which I don't understand. And then you get them two numpties, yeah, backed off of him. And if you see the freeze frame, they both turn their back to the ball, and they just leave a gap. Yeah, no pressure on the ball. Great strike, don't get me wrong, but that could have been avoided 3 times before we actually hit the ball. Yeah, you're 2-0 down to City. You're not winning no game. Yeah, but then comes the penalty. Yeah. I'm still waiting for a valid explanation as to why. Because the foolishness that I've been told about my man played the ball, whatever it's Cancelo, whatever, I don't care. Yeah? Fraser got taken clean out. And the worst thing is, the ref immediately said, "Oh, don't be stupid," and waved it off like that. Bro.
Did VAR even look at it?
Well, apparently, VAR. Initially they said VAR didn't look at it, but then they came back and said, yeah, VAR did look at it and waved it away because of the fact that they thought that Cancelo took the ball, so there was no foul. Huh? In what light of that? That's not a valid explanation.
Yeah.
What valid explanation is we don't like Newcastle United and we want them relegated. Yeah, that's all it is. Because there's no, I don't care who you are. You could be a Sunderland fan. You can't call that that's not a penalty. I don't care who you are. Yeah, I'm not saying it would change the game, but when you put it into context, there was 2 decisions with Liverpool, 50-50. Yeah, but they never went. None of them went Newcastle's way. The Leicester game, Maddison's dive, blatant dive. VAR didn't even check. Yeah, and then you've got this one. Yeah, off the field, they're changing rules as soon as Newcastle get taken over. They're changing sponsorship rules and all this whatever. Premier League teams, I'm having emergency meetings about Newcastle. No one can't tell you that it's not Newcastle against the world, bro. Yeah?
Man said rent free, yeah.
We would need to hire Pep, Messi, and Mbappe just to have a chance against the people that are against the refs, bro. Yeah, that's how bad it is. Now, you get to the second half. Yeah, you get the second half, and you got the Mahrez goal, which was diabolical defending, but the Sterling goal, yeah.
Oh Lord.
The way is it Jesus that assisted it, bro? The
Yeah,
way
Jesus,
the man just got to the byline and beat the man and squared it, and no one's tracking Sterling. It's like everyone just down tools. They're just down tools and accepted their fate. That's it. Now Newcastle put a bit of pressure on in the second half.
What was it? Wilson's effort that Edison made that big save.
Edison made a great save in the first half. Joe Linton put one just wide.
Yeah,
a little daisy cutter just wide, whatever. So we kind of pushed, but not really threatened too much, whatever. But I can't say that result puts the nail in the coffin because I didn't expect anything from it anyway. But again, it makes it very difficult, especially other teams not playing and other teams having games in hand. Like I said, it's better to have points on the board. We ain't even got that. Yeah. So we have to reinforce like hell in January to give us half a chance. But it's going to be equally even more difficult when you've got refs making stupid decisions. And what happens is, I think someone made a comment during the game is that Newcastle, when you watch Liverpool and Man City play or the big teams play, when the decision doesn't go their way, they circle that ref and put pressure on.
Yeah.
Or at least chat to each other. Yeah.
It was like you lot accepted it.
Newcastle are too nice. Yeah. They've gone to the FA and asked questions about the decision. No. Kick down doors, bruv. Kick down doors and demand answers because otherwise they're going to take the piss with you for the rest of the season. Yeah. I'm not saying you're good enough to stay up, but it's going to make doubly hard when every decision's going against you and no one's questioning nothing like in a proper manner. So to me, it's just the fact that we conceded 3 to you lot and then 4 to City. That's 7. No reply, whatever it is. Or 1 reply, should I say? So
yeah, for sure.
It is looking bleak. I can't lie, but listen, it's just it is. But I never thought I'd say this before. Joe Linton deserves better than what he's getting at the moment with his Newcastle team, bro, because he's been our best player since Eddie Howe took over, and St. Maxim has probably been one of our worst players since Howe took over. So don't know what's going on there, but something needs to change, and we need 2 new centre backs. We need a fullback. We need I mean, a centre midfielder and attacking player as well. So unless we get them, we got no chance whatsoever.
Sorry, my connection
Mhm.
just went funny. I stopped listening once I heard Joe Linton and best player. I don't know what else happened after that.
This clown.
But he better than Fabinho still.
How
Yeah,
dare you? How dare you? How dare you? You know what?
That's a
say
sound bite. That's a
that-
clickbait. That's a clickbait. I'm gonna draw them in.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
Did you say Fabinho or Firmino?
Can I just say? Can I say? I'm not downbeat. Like, where before, like I said, I used to rant about Newcastle left, right, and centre.
Mhm.
We probably will get relegated, but the fact that I can see they're making steps to improve the club and to make progress in the long term, from what I'm hearing anyway, and the fact that the crowd at St James's Park is now back to what it used to be, like they're still cheering and clapping after 4-0 and that, and buying it with the City fans who are richer than you and all this kind of thing, whatever. So the vibe, the good feeling is back at St James. We just need to start turning that into wins, but we are seeing progression. So I can't be too downbeat. Yes, I'd rather win, but in the grand scheme of things, if we get relegated, I wouldn't expect us to be in the Championship for too long. And there is a long-term plan in place, which I am happy about. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's just sometimes it's just depressing watching the team play. But yeah.
Before I go to Josh, right, D, you next have got Man United on the
Points,
27th. You're then away to Everton, away to Southampton. You've got Cambridge in the FA Cup at St James Park. Away, but we'll leave that out though. We're just going to go league. You're home to Watford, away at Leeds, and then you're home to Everton again. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how many points do you get out of the next 18? Considering you play Everton twice.
I think we're capable of getting 10. 10 points.
10 points,
yeah. However, I will say against Manchester United at home,
there's no need to be scared of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't lose that game.
Under the lights, it's a live game. Under the lights, with that raucous crowd.
If United play like they did against Norwich, we'll beat them.
That's the difference, though, isn't it? You lot have got a bit of pace in Joe Linton. Got a bit of Willock will go box to box. So Maximum can go past the man with ease. Wilson's got a bit of pace. That's the difference because Norwich caught United so many times in transition and didn't have enough pace. There's not enough conviction when they attacked. If Newcastle, because you'd expect United to have more of the ball, but then United like the pressing thing, so they might ask Newcastle, ask some questions. What can you do with the ball, and then try to break you lot down? Could be a surprise. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
I say 10 points, 9-10 points. I think we get from those games. I think
if you do take double figures, that's going to do a lot to you lot staying up. If you take them from the 18, but so what, Josh? What are your thoughts? Do you think Newcastle are going to go down? Because obviously we've whispered Leeds already. Only 3 teams can go.
I think obviously with the financial backing, I think January, I think Newcastle will most likely be the most active team in the Prem. Even if they do get relegated, like D-Man said, it's a long-term project. And not trying to be disrespectful, but Newcastle have been relegated before, so the fans, they know about the pain of getting relegated, but also know about, well, this time around, we're richer than anyone else. So obviously bumper contracts, 1 season in the Championship, we're back in the Prem, and then we go again, really. So I think either way, I think Newcastle fans should be optimistic. I understand that obviously, like I said, losing game to game is not easy, but yeah, it's gonna be a long term project, and I'm slightly jealous of them, if I'm gonna be honest. Because like I said, it seems like they got owners who actually want them to do well, and really rival the likes of City's, Chelsea's, and they got the money to do it. And regardless of how people try to prevent it, money talks at the end of the day. So yeah, like I said, 5 years time, I can see Newcastle being, if not, becoming a real big team in the Prem. So yeah, man. Props to them.
Can I just say, I think we win the Premier League before Manchester United next do.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah?
Interesting.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. I like it. These on form today, boy.
Listen,
He's ready. He's dropping a bag of sound bites. Right. Jabroni.
Yeah, I don't think Newcastle will get relegated, and one key reason is purely because January, like Josh said, they're going to be hella active.
Virgin.
You're hearing we're hearing all kinds of names. Be interesting to see what is real and what's not, because everyone's being mentioned. But I think for that alone, they will spend. They've got the license to spend. They will. And I think they'll find players that will raise the bar right now to keep them safe.
well, like Mo Salah and that, yeah.
Mo Salah, you know.
Pipe down, you pipe down.
Right. How many points in it? Those games that I said, Jabroni will take their FA Cup tie out. Home to Man United, away to Everton, away to Southampton, home to Watford, away at Leeds, and home to Everton. How many points do they take from the next 18?
I think realistically they'll get 7. I think the Leeds and I think 7. I think the Leeds and Southampton games. I think that there's a good chance to get the W's there, because the form guides.
You don't think they'll win at home to Watford?
Everton.
That could be the draw, but I see 7. I don't see anything drastically changing in the next 6 games. What we're talking about to mid-February, right? Something like that. I don't think we'll see instant results, but I think what keeps them safe is the tail end, the business end of the season, when the players of the new players that they will buy are slowly integrated and they actually come to form. I don't see a drastic change now, but in those series of games, I see 7. Because I think there are certain teams that are in slightly worse form. You've then got to factor in, when do all these games get played? I mean, I was looking at the table. Burnley are 3 games behind Newcastle. So that's a factor. And then in normal season, okay, we can that's a guide, but COVID has made things so unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen in terms of what games will happen. And you can only just look at the form guide for me. So I don't see much change, but I don't see Newcastle getting relegated this season. I think, as someone else said earlier, I think there are worst teams in the league at this present time. And Newcastle, the only way is up. The only way is up. So they'll be safe.
How many points do you think, Josh, before we go to Tottenham Liverpool?
Say about 10. I'll say that. I think wins against Leeds, Southampton, and you say you got Everton twice. I see them getting at least
and Watford as well. They've got
Watford. I think Watford can get results with teams in and around where they're fighting. So that game could go either way. But yeah, I definitely see them get a minimal 10 points if they if they put some effort in. Yeah, definitely.
The only reason I think they can beat Watford, well, not the only reason, because they can anyway. One, Callum Wilson. In general, all them games, because let's be realistic now. Callum Wilson has the ability, no gas, to score against anyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not even gas because he did it when he was at Bournemouth against previous. But also as well, Emmanuel Dennis is Watford's top scorer, and he'll be at the African Nations. So that's why I think that they're gonna beat Watford. I think they're gonna get at least 10 points from them games. But right. Because you were there, Jabroni, yeah, we're going to come back to you before we go to the Tottenham fan, which is one of the main reasons why we wanted Josh on to talk on his club, because we talk on a weekly basis about Tottenham. At the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it finished Tottenham 2, Liverpool 2.
Did.
FBJ, you were there, yeah?
I was.
In your seat, in your normal seat, groove in your seat, yeah? Yeah, been there more times than I've been to Anfield. Right. What was your view on the game? Because let's be realistic. we know Liverpool played with a high line, but that was absolutely ridiculous in the first half. Tottenham could have bagged like 5 on the 5 goals on another day. What was your take for the game before obviously we go Josh and then me and D-Man are going to go in on some controversial decisions?
First of all, I went with my pops, so he thoroughly. Well, no, he enjoyed the experience, but was lamenting the result the whole night through, as I kept telling you, Sunday, and the coarse language, but he was using what he was saying about Kane. We're past watershed, but I'm not going to use that.
FBS in the house.
FBS was not happy, but from a neutral point of view, I could see people would have enjoyed this game. I didn't enjoy it myself for obvious reasons. My heart was in my mouth, but great atmosphere. In terms of the game, we started off okay. We started off all right, and I was speaking to one of the guys who was working there in terms of, it was actually a Ghanaian who was speaking about the game, and he said Spurs just got to hang on for the first 15 minutes because they hadn't played in the best part of 2 weeks. Liverpool will be up and running, this, that, the other, and that's how it panned out, kind of. Liverpool came out flying, zipping the ball about. Spurs couldn't get out, and then the goal, to a degree, at that time, slightly came against run of play, and then it was like, I don't know. I don't even know why constantly all I keep seeing was
they could have scored. They could have scored even before they got the goal. That was their game plan, to sit off us off the ball and then get it long and direct up to Kane and Son. And Kane and Son were just running us.
That's what I'm coming to. That's all I have visions is constantly Son running at Matic and left isolated, and I'm just like saying, Pops, why is Matic having to? I don't understand this. Can someone explain to me the logic? And I got a Liverpool fan, and there was a Spurs fan next to it. And it's like, we're trying to figure out what's going on. What's going on? I'm seeing Kanate pretty much by the touchline with Klopp. I'm like, hold on, this isn't a good matchup. Each time, just Son bombing forward, and then Matic's having to run back, and this, that, the other. Nah, this is not a good matchup. Surely the team can see this, do something about it, but it's just rerun constantly. We'll go attack, lump it forward to Son or Kane, and then watch them go. And it was just so many chances where I'm like, wow, especially the Dele Alli one. How that was, because we didn't see.
What a save, Alisson. But you couldn't see that from your angle, could
no,
you?
we were like, it's just a miss. And we're like, next minute, we see, well, why have they got a corner? What's going on here? How did this? It was so confusing. So yeah, we caught life, particularly in that spell where Spurs could have taken the game away from us. Let's be honest.
Son put one just wide that he stretched for.
Yeah.
I think that was actually I think that was the one before the goal actually, and then obviously there was another one when
there was too many.
When he ran through, and I think he made a good save. But as you said though, the funny thing was that Tottenham had the best chances in the game. And Liverpool had twice as many shots as Tottenham did. Loris made 2 good saves from Trent. It was just for a neutral. For a neutral, this must have been the game of the season. But in terms of actual quality, there wasn't actually like outrageous quality in the football match. It was just lapses all over the pitch, defensively and in midfield, and
the goalkeeper.
Oh god.
Well, no. So let me just wrap up. So, and then Jota got his goal again. The guy is a silent assassin. You and I speak about this. The guy is deadly in the air for being.
He's the same height as me.
I know. The man just boom, just necks it in. I know they talk about his Portuguese brethren who always is good in the air, but this guy scores a hell of a lot of goals in the air. But yeah, no, it was, and we looked like Liverpool looked like a point where halftime was coming at the wrong time because we were gathering momentum. And then the second half, boy, it was one of those where, from my point of view, I felt right, Liverpool can still win this. And once we got that goal, I thought, right, we've seen how this pans out. We've done this before. It's what we built our title win success on. The odd goal, holding it out, see it through. And it was just, I can't believe Beckham, and he's got that in his game. He's got that in his game. It's not constant, but he's
Does
got that in
he?
his.
No, don't get him started because Ederson's got the
No,
most clean
you,
sheets now. Don't get him started, even though he should have been sent off. But yeah, not sent off, should have conceded a penalty, which rules come in the top wins. But yeah,
you'll have your moment. And I've deliberately not mentioned the controversial moments, but it was one where you felt, okay, Liverpool see this through. And in fairness to Becker, he actually kept us in the game because the saves that he was making, particularly in the first half, I can't be too hard on him. It's just annoying that we're facing a team where, you know, they're going to be slightly undercooked. They haven't played in a couple of weeks. They're still finding their feet with Conte. Liverpool have been flying, really. We've gone 2-1 up. Just to give away the goal so cheaply after scoring a goal, it was very disappointing. But overall, from a footballing point of view, can't really be too disappointed with a 2-2 draw from a Liverpool perspective. So, but yeah, a lot of people thoroughly loved the game. Well, yeah, it's probably a fair result when we're in the stadium. But yeah, I can't help thinking once you get to 2-1 with 10, 15 minutes to go, Liverpool have got that in their locker to see it through, and they just didn't, considering what happened a few hours earlier with Man City. Draws are no good. Man City have made draws redundant. It's like win, 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 win. And it's even still, that's not good enough, you know? So, yeah, that's the perspective from the stadium where I was sitting anyway.
from your house. Josh, obviously, Tottenham fan. Were you a little disappointed that you didn't win the game once we went down to 10 men?
No, to be honest, even before the game started, I was expecting us to get humbled. You know, 3-4-0 Liverpool comfortable. So the very fact that, you know, even we didn't win, you know, even with the man advantage, Liverpool are a dangerous squad. There's a reason why, you know, arguably, you know, that they're the best team in the world right now. So yeah, 2-2 draw. I'll take that. I'll take that. Regardless of the sending off or not, we had so many chances to win that game. And that's, for me, that's the frustrating bit. Is in certain players, you know, Dele Alli, that miss pretty much sums up the second half of your career at Spurs. You know, great chance, you know, game-changing opportunity, and you just fluff your lines. Like, yeah, great. It's a great save by Alisson, but let's be honest, in the position where he was, big man, you're smack that into the goal, and you know we can go 2-0 up, and then you know the game could have gone in a different direction. So for me, yeah, it was frustrating we didn't win, but overall, considering that I'm quite the pessimistic Spurs fan in terms of everything at the moment, even with Conte. Can't lie. I'll take that draw. You know, for me, baby steps at the moment. You know, so yeah, I'll take it.
Just on that, on that, with Ali, Josh, what's your thoughts on him? Because when at the stadium, I had split opinions when I was asking some people. So I'm like, what's your thoughts on him?
Well, in that game in particular, he performed all right. I'll give him his due. He did perform all right, but I think overall, sell him. You know, I think too many Spurs fans, you know, are just, you know, caught up in when he first joined us. You know, oh, he's going to be the next Lampard, the next Gerrard. I never believed it, and pretty much, like I said, the majority of his Spurs career has always been, oh, next year. So okay, well, what about this year? What about now? You know, 3 managers, and well, barring Conte, none of them really seem to have got the best out of you. You haven't really improved. No one really seems to know your best position. You know, there's so many questions answering, but you're not getting any younger. So for me, cut ties with him now. But my fear is who really wants him or needs him. I don't see anyone in the top 4. Maybe going abroad, but I don't see Ali as the type of player to go abroad anyway. I think he's very comfortable in that London lifestyle. So, you know, I think it's what a case of. I think Conte just needs to maybe just be a little bit nasty and maybe just push him out that door for his own sake as well. But I think there's other players as well that need to go before Delhi. If I'm being honest, you know. So but yeah, I think in general, he's been around. He's becoming stale, you know. And you know, I want my team to progress. I want my team to actually become a top four team again and be challenging for titles. And he's been here since the downfall of Poch, you know. So, and quite a few players as well have been still here since the downfall of Poch. So, I think if we need to allow Conte to actually full reign over the transfer policy. If it's a sell to buy policy, that's fine, because in my opinion, there's a lot of dead wood there. You know, if it's 50 mil here, 80 mil here, 20 mil, I'm not really worried about, you know, maximizing the sell potential. Just get them out of the squad and then use whatever money you get in and spend that wisely in areas that we need improving. You know, so, and that includes Kane as well.
Ooh.
If even if we miraculously get top four and let's say we win the FA Cup this season, I'll still sell Kane, because Conte's only going to really be here for about, let's say, 3 years tops. You know, he's not a long term manager. Spurs is going to take, what, let's say this season, maybe next, to progress to where we were. Kane's not getting any younger. So I think, look, let's cut our ties now. Sell him for, let's be real, 80. I mean, this season you got to wipe off 20.
You feel his price has gone down that much? I know D-Man does. You feel his price has gone down that much?
I've been telling him all that.
Look,
more than 80 million.
at the start of before the start of season, I think the top three strikers in top five was what? Lewandowski, Lukaku, Benzema, Kane, and Luis Suarez. Benzema has been flying. Lukaku's been flying. Not Lukaku. Lewandowski's been flying. Obviously, Lukaku's fallen off. Suarez fallen off. But Kane has scored 2 goals in the Prem. For someone of your stats, 2 goals in we're heading to 2022 in 7 days, and you scored 2 goals in the Prem.
If I told someone before the season starts that Harry Kane would only miss 1 league game and he'd have 2 goals by Christmas, they would have punched me in the face, mate.
So
I was pretty disgusted that he scored against Liverpool. I'm like,
I knew he was.
He's only done it against our teams, bro. He's got a thing against the team.
That's what I'm saying. Newcastle and Liverpool, that's what he scored against. You get what I'm saying, bro? I knew he was going to score. I knew there was not going to be a clean sheet. I knew. I said, watch, he's going to score against Liverpool. So I can't even ridicule him temporarily. You get what I'm saying? I mean, but there you go. But right, D, I know what you thought on the Andy Robertson sending off, but how did Harry Kane end up on the pitch for the whole 90 minutes? Please tell me.
It's the same reason that you don't get ridiculed like Lukaku does, bro. Because he's England captain, bro. It's that England captain tax. Yeah? There is no way. Yeah? How can... First of all, you didn't even need VAR to send him off. Yeah? But how can VAR look at that and not overturn the booking and send it to a red?
That's the thing.
They're saying because it's ridiculous, but they're saying that because Robertson saved himself by going up when he saw Kane coming, that
so because Robertson
not going to go
ankles, yeah,
because he wanted to save his career.
Yeah, you're giving Kane the benefit of the doubt. It was high, both feet were literally off the ground, and he caught him. Yeah. He caught him.
He's a passionate player, man. He's a passionate player.
He wasn't even looking. When you finish for him, he was not looking at the ball. He was looking away, and he was looking to end my man's career. Yeah,
man had the cheek in the interview to say that he thought he won the ball.
He thought I thought I won the ball.
That's what set FBS to. He just set him off.
FBS shut the house.
He was like, that's
this captain tax, yeah. Because remember when Shearer booted Lennon in his face?
Oh my days!
The same thing here. Yeah, it's the England captain tax. Yeah, act like you don't see nothing and play on. That was one of the worst challenges I've seen all season. Yeah. and he gets a yellow card, and he had the cheek to protest about it as well. No,
That's why Liverpool fans are so vexed, because one, like, it should have, yes, it should have been a sending off anyway, but two as well. At that time, we had the ball, but they were hitting us on the brink and having the better chances. If Kane goes off, we absolutely smashed Tottenham.
The only reason why I can understand why it wasn't given is because it was on that idiot Andy Robertson. Yeah.
Hey, mind your language.
Because I don't like that, brother. Yeah.
Chief.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. But all jokes aside, that was a blatant red, and it would have changed the game. But just briefly though, Dele Alli, that chance that he had, he didn't even have to pack it. Put it the other way. And
composure.
He went near it, but he panicked. But anyway,
that's how you made your name at Tottenham. It was that showing composure in front of the goal. I remember when they played Chelsea, when Chelsea won the league in 16-17, they played him as a false nine. And those late runs into the box, composure, and then he got both the goals and beat them at White Hart Lane. Like, I don't know where that's gone.
The chemistry between him and Christian Eriksen used to be sensational. Like you said, literally false nine over the top, just gracefully just tapping it away. Just thinking, bro, where has that Dele Alli gone? Just like a shell of a player.
But make no mistake, Spurs should have packed Liverpool. That they will never get a better chance to put Liverpool away. And like I said, Alisson made some very good saves. Lloris made a good save, I think he did.
A couple. That's what I'm saying. They made two from Trent.
Yeah.
Who was it? Man, someone else had the effort that he took. He was going on my nerves. I was like, why? Why? All of doesn't because of Lloris.
Was it Son that went through 1-on-1 and fluffed his lines?
Son had one that Alisson blocked, but then even in the second half as well,
that was a good save. That was a solid
the ball got cut back to Kane, and then I thought he was going to dig it over Alisson. Alisson came out and blocked it.
That wasn't a good save. That was poor finishing. That was poor finishing from Harry Kane. True. Don't get me wrong, the ball from Ali, bit behind Kane, but Kane should have finished that. That was poor finishing. And
the one Kane missed as well. Kane and Cristiano doing up, trying to bail Jota out of missing the season, because that one he brought over the bar. Jesus is Lord. I turned away. I thought, go.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm gonna say, all in all, I think. Listen, Liverpool will be disappointed that they've lost some ground on City, but they'll be the fact they went down to 10 men and didn't lose the game. I think they can take some part from it, and it's only one win away from being top again. So it's not, it's not the world, to be fair.
It's the goal difference though now. We were miles ahead in goal difference, and now City were brought up sevens and
it's the same now. It's plus 35
plus
now.
35, but also as well, in regards to this game, Liverpool should have had a penalty in the first half.
Yeah.
Emerson Road had already been booked. He's pushed Jota down. So even if it doesn't have to be a second yellow, but that's a pen. It's one of the ones where I was one of the few people that noticed it in normal times. And after the game, when they were showing it, people were messaging me. They were like, I didn't realise it was a pen, because I was arguing with Darren T on the Twitter, innit? They didn't realise it normal times. I saw it was straight away. Made no attempt to play the ball, lead him in his back. I'm not gonna lie. When I first, in normal times, saw the Robertson sending off, I thought, it wasn't until I saw the replay, because I was arguing with Dion on WhatsApp as well with the group. It wasn't until I saw the replay. He's gone hell for leather to whack the ball into the stands. But if you don't time those correctly, taking man out, you have to go. You get what I'm saying? You have to go.
It happened right in front of me, and I thought it was just a yellow. I thought, but when I saw it on TV, I'm like, what was wrong with
normally, I thought it was just a yellow, because you see that all the time. Someone tries to slash the ball out, they miss it. Okay, get on with it, yellow. But then so he's got to go. And Klopp didn't defend him either. Everyone thought Klopp. Klopp didn't defend him either, but some very, very questionable refereeing. It was a great weekend for Man City in terms of refereeing decisions. But for a neutral, that was
great game.
For a neutral, that was outrageous. Outrageous game. For me, I had palpitations.
One point I wanted to speak, because I was letting you guys speak on it first in my assessment, was the whole VAR thing, because I think we've gone to a whole nother place where you don't know, well, what's VAR doing? If you're saying clear and obvious, Kane's tackle, if you can interject, if the referee hasn't seen it, that's fine. And in fairness, the referee's been consistent where, if you compare the Robbo sending off, he saw it, gave a yellow, and VAR intervened. So what were they doing not intervening with the Kane tackle? Because to me, I don't see any difference to, for example, Pogba and Naby Keita. It was something similar-ish, but they intervened in that. You didn't intervene in this one.
That's what I was going to say. Kane's was worse than.
That's what I mean. So I'm like, how can you? What's the consistency? And then the penalty, the what should have been a penalty for Liverpool anyway. He's made no attempt at the ball. He's barged Jota in the back. So what actually are you watching there? So what is
and the thing was cussing because they went to they interviewed Mark Clattenburg. Did you hear what they said about the Jota one? They said it was a foul, but because he stopped.
Oh yeah, he stopped.
What the hell is it?
Klopp said clearly these are people who've never played football before because you have to stop to shoot.
What's going on?
It's just been
before our very eyes.
Yeah, it's been weird following what we were talking about with Newcastle. You like, what are VAR watching? Because it's supposed to be clear and obvious. If you don't get more clear with a lighthouse on it, with torchlights on it, it's a blaze that there's an obvious situation where you can step in here. These guys aren't stepping in. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on with VAR.
I shouldn't stop to shoot. He should shoot while he's running, so it goes into Rosette, right? And Andy Robertson should leave his leg parted, so Harry Kane can break his leg to warrant the sending off. That's what we've learned from this weekend as well. And Ederson can do what he likes as long as it's not on the player who has the ball, because then it's fine. It's not a foul.
It's just they need.
And the Ederson one as well, right, is worse on the replay as well. Because normal time you just think, okay, a Fraser saw him coming and went down. On the replay, you see the collision, and you're like, how are you going?
This is what I'm saying. You could excuse the ref for not seeing it. But when you've got all these cameras,
you expect City to still win, but it's just a point. It's another clean sheet. It would have been one goal off in a goal difference that makes everything different at the moment. You never, with one can bring two. You never know what may happen.
I just look at it that you've got all the cameras, you can see all these things, and yet you're sitting there and you're saying, "Nah, nothing to see here." It's like, what, really? You know? But
if it had been at the Etihad. Yeah, and that had happened, and Tabasco had taken out Gabriel Jesus. It wouldn't give him a penalty before we even realise what happened.
We'll even see it this weekend. We'll see something similar, and we'll get a completely different set of decisions. So I don't know what's going on, but anyway, we move on. In summary, from a Liverpool point of view, considering down to 10 men, it was a makeshift midfield.
Yeah.
The boy Morton tried in the first half. He got better a little bit in the second half.
Yeah.
The fact that of all these things, it's like, yeah, all right. And Spurs is a difficult place to go to. You have to say it's a well-earned point. But from Spurs' point of view, again, with all those scenarios, and you still didn't win, they'll be disappointed. It would have been interesting to see if they had played a few more games before that, how the game would have panned out. But 2 weeks, not playing, new manager, they're going through a COVID thing themselves. It's it's one of those situations.
I'll take the point in the end. Obviously, in the context of the game, it's hard too, because obviously you see decisions that didn't go your way. But as you said, Van Dijk was out. The whole of the first choice midfield was wiped out with either COVID. They said Henderson just had a cold, but they said taking precaution, they sent him home. So without the whole of the first choice midfield, you got to take that, because
Fabinho, Thiago, none of them guys.
Exactly, because I'll come back to Josh here before we leave it. We'll go to the League Cup games before we round things off, right? How did you think Harry Winks did? Because he obviously set up that Son equaliser via Alisson. Do you still want him at the club?
No, Winks can go as well.
Man said it straight.
Nah. Like again, just like Ali, again, good performance. That's great, but you're literally living off that performance against Real Madrid, and that was 3 years ago. You know, Nuno wasn't feeling you, Mourinho wasn't feeling you, Conte. Well, if reports are true, apparently Ali and Winks have got life under Conte, but truthfully, all I see for Winks is pretty much the Spurs version of McTominay, just safe passing, side to side passing, but without the defensive capability. You know, in that sense, you know, he's that West Ham game last season where he didn't close Lanzini down and he just lashed it top bins. It will pretty much sums up his career for me. So, yeah, Winks can go as well. I think it's just regardless of the whole homegrown yeah, he can go as well. 10 mil, 15. Yeah, see you later.
What about? I'll give you a couple other names before we end it. Ben Davis, stay or go.
I've never liked him. He can go. Never liked him. Yeah,
Davinson Sanchez.
yeah, go.
Matt Doherty.
Does he
Give
still
him
play
one more
football?
season. Give him one more season. Not because of I rate him, but you've only been here one season. You had to deal with two managers, so you haven't had time to settle under one consistent regime. So yeah, you got this season to prove yourself.
I think in the Conte system he can be very effective because he
Yeah.
was arguably in that season, that aforementioned season with Wolves that we talked about earlier with Nuno. He was arguably a contender for best right back in the league. With obviously more we could say slash right wing back because they played some games with three at the back, but he did really, really well, getting forward, linking play, balls into the box, scored a couple of headers and that. Ali, we've already got your thoughts on. Bergwijn.
Keep him, but give him a consistent run of games to prove himself, because that's the one thing that he hasn't had the fortune is a consistent run of games. He's in and out, in and out. Now I don't know if that's because of in training he's not putting it in, or dislodging Son and Mora, especially under Nuno and Mourinho, was going to be hard anyway, because you know what you're going to get from both of them respectively. So yeah, I'll say give him a run of games, and yeah, but again, this is your kind of final season to prove yourself. You know, if you can't do it, unfortunately, then we've just got to have to cut our ties with him.
Yeah, and the last one, Lo Celso.
Boy, yeah, final season to prove yourself. I think he gets a lot of grace because because of the consistent injuries, but a lot of people don't seem to remember we spent damn near 50 million on him in terms of actual transfer fee and loan fee as well. That kind of money for 5 mil more on paper, we could have got Bruno. Regardless of how, as a performer, I don't really rate Bruno in terms of performance. I would happily take Bruno's numbers right now for an extra 5 mil. So again, that we have to look at, is Lo Celso a victim of the cheaper alternative option? Because that seems to be a habitual habit for Spurs. It's always 5 mil too much or 7 mil too much. Oh, let's go for the other guy, and the other guy just seems to flop. So but again, I don't see Lo Celso cementing or even getting a consistent run of games. Because Skippy's doing his bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, Højbjerg is a guaranteed starter.
Yeah, good plan.
It's looking like the way Conte's setting up, it's going to be Son Mora with Ali and Ndombele, you will say, contesting for the other free spot. So unless there's a injury or two, and Lo Celso gets a good run of games, I just don't see him getting an opportunity to prove himself. So if that's the case, again, like I said, end of the season, got to cut your losses and just even if it's a cheap fire sale, just get the money in and actually allow Conte to redecorate the house how he wants, how he sees fit.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll leave the Prem games there. League Cup. All the quarterfinals have been played. I thought something might get called off because of COVID, but it wasn't. It started on Tuesday, D. I was watching Italian and I was liaising with Josh. We were watching Italian and Spanish games on Tuesday. I was watching Genoa and Atalanta, and then I watched Sevilla and Barca. But the timeline, whenever I looked on it, was full of Arsenal fans. Yeah, Arsenal won 5-1 at home against Sunderland, but you would have thought they were playing the Premier League team the way these guys were talking about the thing. But again, as we said earlier, you can only beat what's in front of you. I was just happy Sunderland scored because I'm getting sick of these Arsenal clean sheets when they can see a bag of shots at their goal. A lovely goal by Broadhead as well, who's on loan there from Everton. Everton should call him back considering they're not scoring that many goals at the moment. Obviously, they don't like the tie that they've got, but if Arteta was to get to another cup final,
he could do. He could do both. Listen, the result's not surprising. Nor the scoreline. Sunderland are trash. It's good to see Arsenal rotate and some of the youngsters get a chance. Obviously, Nketiah got the hat trick.
Yeah, that third goal was nice, that little flick.
Yeah. And when you speak to him, the interview that he did afterwards, it's obvious that he's not signing a new contract and he wants to leave. But because he's not getting the first team football, you got the youngster that scored his goal.
Patino?
Patino, yes,
but you know, Arsenal are going to have these youngsters, these promising youngsters and stuff, and good to see Arteta give them a chance. Whether he does that in the next round, considering they're so close to a final now, be interesting. I don't see why Arsenal can't make a final, and if not not win the league. I mean, I don't say they will because there are stronger teams in there. But when you get to this stage of the competition, anything's possible. I think it's a tasty looking draw. I'm happy the teams that went through, but Arsenal got their job done. Played the weakest team in the quarterfinals, but they got the biggest scoreline. They battered them as expected. It's just job that obviously, like I said, the Arsenal fans will gas up the thing on the timeline. You know, I always say if I'm a player, I'd love to have fans like Arsenal because I could be right foot and hit the ball with my left foot and all of that.
You're the best thing since sliced bread.
That's it. It gets you to but again, we'll see what Arteta's made of. Obviously, he, in his managerial career, he got the FA Cup and the Community Shield, and all the Arsenal fans were gassed about him. And like just today, the other day earlier, one time it's Arteta in, then it's Arteta out. Trust the process, get rid of him. We spend more money, or he's not trusted with the money and stuff like that. So if he can bag another trophy, it gives him a stay of execution, and more and more Arsenal will start believing again that they are going places. Would they take a trophy and maybe top 6 this season? I think they would. So that would be a successful season in their eyes. So yeah, I mean, they got the job done. They got the job done. Let's see what they can do in the semis now, isn't it?
Indeed, we shall see. FBJ, a name there that obviously Dee's just mentioning. Eddie Nketiah got a hat trick in this one. As Dee just said in the interview, he's blatantly not going to sign a new contract. He was on loan at Leeds under Bielsa. Is this someone that Leeds could get him now for peanuts in January rather than wait until the summer to get him, because Bamford needs backup? And
yeah. I was discussing this with my old man yesterday. Actually, I said I wouldn't be surprised because my dad was saying, "Oh, did you see his goals?" I said, "Yeah, I don't think he's good enough for Arsenal, and clearly he doesn't want to stay there as well." But I said to my old man that I think Leeds would go in for him, and he wasn't aware that he had to spell at Leeds. So he said, I think he fits. It's a good fit for both him, and also obviously for Leeds. Yeah, I could see that happening because Arsenal would want to get something from him. I mean, effectively, he's a youth player. They're not losing any money, but when you get a couple of mil for him, you've made a profit in somebody who's on the fringes anyway, so it's no great loss. In relation to coming back to some of the stuff that D-Man mentioned, yeah, I mean, Arsenal again, they beat what was in front of them. Can't really say much about Sunderland. They've got their own issues, and a couple of years ago they were even in the League Cup final a couple of years ago against, I believe, Man City, if I'm correct. It didn't feel that long ago, anyway. Yeah, I slightly disagree with if Arsenal won this and got top 6. I think some sensible Arsenal fans would see that as a success. but there aren't that many that would see it because they will still have aspirations and think that, well, we were in the Champions League and we're this and we're that and we're this, that, the other, and Invincibles. You are where you are now, and this is a building bit. So if Arsenal were to win this, I think any sensible fan would say, well, hold on, you're criticising a manager where Arsenal still haven't ever recovered over Wenger leaving, and that's quite difficult anyway. A guy who's been there for a generation. But you've won 2 trophies, you've consolidated in top 6, whatever, and you're bringing youth players. That to me is sensible, but a lot of fans won't see it that way, and that's where it's unfortunate. Will they go on and win it? Obviously, I'm going to say, I've got my answer. I'm going to say no. But yeah, they've got as good a chance as any, as what D-Man said. You know, at this stage, the draw is open. And again, a couple of years ago, when they did win the FA Cup, I don't think many people gave them a chance against Man City. I gave them a chance purely, and I'm not bigging myself up, I'm just saying, because 2 years previously, they did the same thing against Man City in the semi-final of the FA Cup. No one gave them a chance. Beat Man City in the semi, the last 2 times they won the FA Cup. Played Chelsea in the final and won it. So they got form, they got pedigree in these kind of situations. But yeah, I like to think that this is as far as they'll go in the competition.
Considering who they're playing right now, Brentford Brentford lost rather 2-0 to Chelsea. Own goal by Pontus Jansson and penalty by Jorginho. Brentford were very wasteful in this game. They could have put Chelsea away before and even after the first goal. They didn't. So Chelsea safely through. Before we end with Liverpool, Josh, to your team, you got a 2-1 win. I think you had other football that you wanted to watch rather than watch this cup time. But Tottenham got it done 2-1 against West Ham. All the goals in the first half. Bergwijn, a man we spoke on earlier, opened the scoring. Then a lovely neat turn and finish by Jared Bowen to make it 1-1. And then Lucas Moura won the game with a close range goal. And Tottenham finally break their trophy drought. What is it? This is the once the final comes along, that will be the 14 years since that last League Cup win. Can you do it? You've got to get past Chelsea.
If you get past Chelsea, you get into the final, then it's all to play for. Now we're back to 1 game a week as well. You know, that will give Conte a lot of time to actually draw in his methodologies, ideas into these players. And like I said, going forward, if he gets full control over everything, we do get to the final. We have, like I said, if you look at the Liverpool game, we have players and we have a system that we can cause big teams trouble, especially if they come into the game thinking that we're going to roll over Spurs, or they're going to be we could be conservative, sit back and allow you to have the ball. So yeah, I think we're moving in the right direction. But in reality, I don't think we're going to beat Chelsea. I feel that that voodoo that Chelsea seem to have over us, especially in semi-finals, I think that's going to continue, which is unfortunate. But yeah, if we get past them, then yeah, I believe that we can actually win it.
Cool. So we'll finish up with the last tie that I was watching. Again, more palpitations. We've all seen since he's been in charge in the of Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, since the 15-16 season. Though they reached the final that year and lost to Manchester City. What type of teams he's named for a lot of these League Cup games. It finished Liverpool 3, Leicester 3, and then Liverpool 1 on 5-4 on penalties, was it?
Yeah.
Right. Now, because obviously Tottenham and West Ham was the game that was picked, because every time Liverpool seemed to play in the League Cup, their game seems to be live. So this was a bit different. Considering Leicester have had games postponed and there's been complaints of the injuries and COVID, and they've tried to get this cancelled here and there, that Leicester team was much stronger than I was anticipating that it was going to be. From when I'm seeing Dakar, Vardy, Maddison, all these man, and they went into a 3-1 lead in the first half. Some of Liverpool's defending was left to be desired, but Joe Gomez still rusty, still getting some early game time back in, considering from when he came back from injury, looked a bit off the pace, and it could have been 4 because Vardy hit the post as well in that one. But then the camera get to go to Jurgen Klopp on the sideline, and the way his face went, I could see he thought, okay, I'm just going to name a team, we'll see how it goes. But it was like, no, I don't like this. I don't like losing. And what I must say is that the crowd were outstanding. It felt like a European night. Keita came on, Milner came on, Jota came on, and this game just completely changed. You would have thought Liverpool had Thiago, Van Dijk, and these men on the pitch because Leicester were bad. They still almost, because Shrewsbury Hall caught us. They caught us to the counter. He cut in and had a shot saved by Kelleher. But that second half was absolute madness, and it was like the crowd almost willed the ball into the goal for Liverpool, and
it was a good old fashioned cup tie atmosphere.
there you go. And Jota pulled it back to 3-2, and then me thinking, I'm on my phone because my stream was like a minute behind. A message comes up, an update comes up from One Football, and it says Leicester knock out Liverpool. So I get up and I'm cussing, walking out because I'm behind, and no one's messaging. This is the thing with the Liverpool group. Whenever it comes to a League Cup games, no one's messaging the group. League game, FA Cup game, Champions League games, everyone's chatting, cussing players, even when players are having a bad game. So I get up, I'm cussing, and my mum goes, Minamino, goes to high five me. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then and I turn, go back, and obviously by that time on the stream, and I see Minamino score, and I'm like, why did I not put B down on us when it was 3-1? I'm there going mad. And then after that, I thought, now there's no way we could let this slip on penalties. Keller had a hero. I knew Luke Thomas would miss, but yeah, it's mad. Leicester should be ashamed. That team that they put out should never have let Liverpool come back. I just don't know what it is with their defending. Not that anyone's ever looked at defending being a Brendan Rodgers' team strong point, but I don't know what is going to. And as you said, I saw you tweet. You said Klopp just realised at halftime that Pep's not in the competition no more. You can actually win this. Let's make some subs.
It's anybody's cup now. He knows that the stranglehold that Pep had on that thing, man. The Pep Cup is no longer there. So, and he's always been accused of not taking cup competition seriously. So now it's like he knows that. Listen, a trophy is a trophy at the end of the day, and it adds to his CV. So, and this is probably the best chance he has to win it because they're better than any other team in that competition. I feel if they put their proper team out, but it's he started to take it seriously. Can't get clapped at Anfield by Leicester. I'm sorry, you can't. And he realised that. So, and shout out to the keeper as well with his penny heroics. But Leicester's pennies were horrible. The two that they missed were horrible. Absolutely shocking. But I prefer to see. Given the teams that were left in there, I wanted to see Liverpool go through. To be fair, I wanted to see an interesting semi-final and final from now. So it brings more credibility to the competition. So yeah, all good, man. All good.
Yeah, we'll see. Salah, Mane, and Keita won't be there, but we'll see how strong a team he puts out, how seriously he takes it now. People are saying he's angry because he wanted to get knocked out, but the interview he gave after the game was absolutely brilliant. But man, it was scenes, man, and Jota was winding up and cussing the Leicester fans.
I like Jota. Because a proper way, yeah, not like Robertson, but Jota, the way he riles up opposition fans, I love it.
With that starting lineup, and I thought Leicester would go strong because, well, this is not their ceiling, but it's like it's a bit of a free hit. They don't have the expectation of going for
FPL terminology,
of going for the league, even though they've won it. And plus, Rodgers actually knows what this competition is. He still doesn't know about Conference League, but there you go. I was annoyed. I was annoyed when I saw the team sheet. I thought, what what is this? Because you guys know me. I'm about trophies. And
the kids were out yesterday.
I was fuming. I said, what kind of... I got home. I said, I'm going to have a quick shower. But I come to my phone. It's bleeping. I said, what's going on? What's going on? I thought it was 8 o'clock it started. It's bleeping. I'm like, we're already 2-0 down. I thought, should I even bother watching this? I said, nah, let me watch.
And the joke is, Liverpool started well. Leicester's goals were counter-attacks. Liverpool were all over them. And then they just came forward, counter-attack. And every time they got into a near our box, it looked like they were going to score. I thought it was going to be 5 or 6 at a stage. But then the substitutions, obviously, then we sorted it out.
But you know me. Every trophy matters, irrespective. Once you get to the quarter-final stage, you have to be. To me, you have to be serious. And I just felt that because everyone, apart from perhaps maybe Chelsea, this actually would mean something. Even from a Liverpool point of view, we haven't actually had a cup. That's one thing Klopp hasn't done properly. He actually hasn't taken the cup competition seriously. So the fact that, and I've said, Dubs, I said it after the FA Cup. I said, you know what? We're going to have a cup run next season. I've said it. It's happening. It's happening. We're going to Wembley. I'm fed up of watching these cup finals. And I'm thinking, where the hell's Liverpool at? We're going. I've decided.
Doing it up every single season. I'm bashing stuff at my television. Like.
No. So I thought, I said, Dad, I can't send you back to Ghana. You've had a good week, and it ends on this. No, we can't do this. We can't do this. But no, it was good scenes, and it just goes to show overall that the cup does matter, particularly at this stage. It has. There's room for it. It's just that unfortunately, because of COVID and other competitions that are being spoken about, it always seems to be the one where I even heard Ralph Rangnick say, "Oh, you don't need it." No, it does matter. It just needs better organisation. And yes, we don't need 2 legs in the semi-final. That's the last thing I will say. But we don't. There's no need for it. 1 leg, boom, done. Maintain its relevance. But yeah, no, great scenes this week from both my team and Josh's team. Mine and Dubs' team and Josh's team this week. We're still in it, but there can only be one.
Come on.
And it's coming home. It's coming. I don't like sharing with Man City. We need to back up. We need to go to number 9 here.
Oh man, yeah, because true. We were clear with these guys, and they just been stacking it as D said, the Pep Cup.
Crazy.
Right, so
just give it to Spurs, man. Come on, man.
You had the chance with the Conference League, and you I don't know what happened.
They had a chance last year, and they lost to City. They didn't turn up against City. Ruben Diaz should have been sent off for his tactical fouling. You get what I'm saying? They had their chance last year. Yeah,
I'm saying all the other trophies are taken. You had your Conference League and you didn't want it. That's it. You had your
They're
chance.
appealing. They might still be able to get it. They're appealing. It's not done yet. Yeah.
Do you know what's for Spurs fans? What's like shocking for me? I'm seeing a lot of Spurs fans celebrating us getting knocked out of it and saying, "Yeah, it's a poison challenge. We can focus on." I was like, focus on top 4. I'm sitting there thinking, you do realise that Man United it's Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and City for that top 4. Throw in Arsenal as well. This was our only opportunity to realistically get a trophy. Let's be honest, the caliber of the teams that were in that tournament was a joke. Regardless of how bad Tottenham were and the problems with Mourinho, we should be getting to the semi-finals of that competition. Our group consisted of what? Vitesse, Rennes, and Mora.
Rennes are a good team. Rennes are a good team.
Yeah, but bar Rennes. You telling me you couldn't even scrape a second?
Oh man, I hear you, man. Right, so let's wrap it up then. So last thing I'm going to ask you lot, because obviously we won't be back on the radio until New Year's Day. Who is your Premier League player of the season so far? I'll start with you, D.
Mo Salah. Has to be Mo Salah, isn't it? It has to be.
All right.
And then
okay, all right. Actually, let's go through. Yeah. Obviously, let's go through position. So forward, Mo Salah. Let's go back. Goalkeeper. Who's been the best goalkeeper so far?
Edison,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go Jose Sarr. just for the fact he's had more to do than Ederson has. Though obviously Ederson statistically has been because he's got the most clean sheets. Jose Sarr has impressed me. Josh, what you said? Goalkeeper.
Oh, I'm gonna say up until recently, Mendy has been impressing me.
FBJ.
I'm going to go Ramsdale purely because the fans didn't want him. He took a lot of abuse, and the same people aren't making that same noise about him. He's shown his level, and he's fitted in. He's in the character. So at the club, so I'll say Ramsdale.
Good point. Good one. Defender. I'm going Cancelo. Don't Trent's not far off him though. It's kind of.
Yeah,
it's kind of level pegging. I'm gonna just go with Cancelo, but it's kind of equal to be perfectly honest. They can share it for me. They can share it.
I'd say Cancelo just nicks it, but yeah, it could go either way. Him and Trent could be either way. Yeah.
What Josh was saying, Trent? Yeah.
No, I'm going Cancelo as well.
Cancelo, okay. FBJ?
I was going to say Cancelo, but just to be different, I'm actually going to mention Matip. Because he's been fit. I've been shocked how many games he's played, and by and large, he's been really, really good. He has been really good. So yeah, I'll say Matip.
But in the pre-podcast notes, you said you're going to say Harry Maguire. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. What was I know? No. Right. Luke Shaw? No, right. Midfielder.
There can only be one. Bernardo Silva.
Yeah. Bernardo's been very good this season. I mean, you know what you're going to. You know what you're going to get for him, 1 or 2 assists. You know that he's going to work hard for the team, graft, link the play up. But 7 league goals as well. Come on, man.
It's not even that. It was in the summer. Pep made it clear that if he wants to leave, he can leave.
Yeah.
You know, so he wasn't even wanted at the club. You know, he's arguably keeping Grealish out of the starting lineup, and he's also making people question why did we spend 100 million on Grealish in the first place when we had Bernardo here, you know, just quote unquote rotting on the bench. So yeah, like I said, he never gets the limelight. It's like Bernardo Silva, you know, he does the stuff that the English fan base don't appreciate, and add the goals and assists to his game. Yeah, I would say that definitely. I think he's underrated as well.
I was going to say Silva as well. I know some people have said, "Oh, he's come back this season." I never saw him actually leave.
He didn't start playing badly. He just wasn't being played.
That was it. It just wasn't being played.
Cold on people.
Do you know what I mean? The odd minute here, that's it. He never actually left. It's just that, and that's the thing with Man City. There's like, unless you're getting played or you're injured, people say, "Oh, can you imagine if this player was available, what they would have done?" Well, no, because somebody else was doing the business.
Well, that's the thing.
Do you know what I mean?
But people always do that.
It's the worst thing you can do in a Pep team is get injured, but because someone take your place and they start flying.
That's it.
One has done.
Yeah.
Silva, Sterling, all them people, they go on these runs, and if they get injured, the next player comes in and flies. So it's just like
that's it.
That's the kind of squad you want, though.
Because even last season, when Aguero started having more injury issues than usual, people were like, and City without a striker. These times, Gabriel Jesus was on the bench for like 80% of the games, you know, and Pep was either using him for 10 minutes or 15 at the end, 20 minutes, or he wasn't using them at all. It's like, you do realise there's a striker on the bench that they weren't using. But
That's it. I remember even one of my friends, the year that Liverpool ran City really close in the league, he said, "Oh, yeah, you know, Liverpool wouldn't have got close if Kevin De Bruyne was playing most of that season." I said, well, then Bernardo Silva wouldn't have been doing what he would have done. It's just there's always somebody, you know.
There's always somebody.
So that's just how it is there.
It's always someone, because it's not until you know they've got a great squad, but when you actually list the names, like D-Man's cousin Amari was in for the radio show on Saturday, and he said he's City best 11, and D was there. It's like every name he was saying was like a punch in the face, like, "What, this squad's mad, you know." And that's why I was saying that when people make the comparisons to Liverpool, we've not got their wealth. So worse squad's not as deep as theirs. So when we have injuries or whatever, it affects completely different to those guys. You get what I'm saying? But it's what it is. And forward, obviously, we're all going Salah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to say somebody else because it's very obvious to say Salah. Antonio. I think he's.
Wait, bro.
No. I'm going to say someone. It's easy to say Salah. I would pick him, but I'm going to mention Antonio because that boy is a handful. He is just causing so many
What's he done
problems.
in the last 6, 7, 8 games?
Yeah, 8 games without a goal.
Yeah, but he's he's contributing to the team in terms
You
of.
like he's Emil Heskey, bro.
Oh no!
No, come on now, come on, guys.
Oh, the
That's
Heskey roll, you know.
joke.
Man said the Heskey roll. Yeah, side man things.
Nah, he's been a handful. I would put Antonio in there, but yeah, the obvious one has been Salah.
Cool. Right, so we'll leave it there then. That's your supplement. Yeah, it's just to keep you in place until we return on radio on New Year's Day with the 40 on Top show. As I said at the start, comes on Top FM. That's 95.5 FM on a Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to midday. If you're not in London, probably best to listen to that on the TuneIn app or the Simple Radio app, either or, whichever one you've got. And we are the @DD Footy Factory _ on Twitter and on Instagram. D&D Football Factory, D&D Footy Factory on Facebook as well. And you can catch any of the previous shows on our SoundCloud, and which is D&D Football Factory. And we are, if you have Spotify, Audio Boom, or anything else, we are on the Shoot the Defense Media Network as well. So you can catch any of the shows on Apple Podcasts, whatever, any music platform that you have. I'm Dubul Dee. My @ is @DD. Goodness me. My @ is Dubul Dee. That's DUBULDEE. And the pod page is @DD Footy Pod on the Twitter. D-Man.
Yep, same tag on all the socials, Insta, Twitter, that's Phenomenal25, Phenomenal with an F. If you can't spell it, you can't follow me. So
did you see you've got imitator? Did you see the message that I sent to the
but yeah.
But they're not Buju Bailey, so they can't beat they can't beat you. FBJ,
Yeah,
you're not on Twitter, amazingly.
You can't.
Is there anything you want to plug?
You can't follow me and then all of that stuff you lot just said. But what I will say, you can follow me if we do another podcast. So I'm putting it down to the hosts. When we do another podcast, ASAP, the streets are talking. They want it. So I'm just saying.
Follow him on LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn, man.
He's on Facebook. The ladies want to know he's on Facebook under Carlton Cole. Yeah! You get me? Right. Josh, anything you want to plug, brother?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter, JustJ093. But yeah, no, that's me, man.
Big. Very good debut. Very good, solid debut from yourself. Made tackles, recycled possession in the midfield, never gave the ball away. You get what I'm saying? Brilliant debut. Thanks for coming, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man.
Short notice as Darren T had to pull out. You get me? But yeah. So yeah, that is it. Merry Christmas, people, and we will hear from us again New Year's Day. We'll be back on your radios. We are out.
Peace.
Peace.